Excellent. All right. And if you are watching this on recording, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for donating an hour of your time to your business. This is a really important topic. You will get a copy of the recording. And if you're interested, I can also share a copy of the slides with you. Before we kick off, I would like to just pay my acknowledgement to country. So recognising elders past, present and emerging. And if you would like to pop the land on which you are coming to from today, feel free to pop that into the chat box. Always love learning, where people are from and what country they are on. I'm from Bundjalung country myself, which is in northern New South Wales, but in Toowoomba I live on the lands of the Jagera people. So there we go. All right, let's talk digital. So a lot has changed, and it's changed very quickly. So when I first went to school, we didn't have computers still in the classrooms. I think our school had one computer or two computers, and then I was banned from it because I managed to blow it up. But we grew up, or I grew up certainly in the era of the fax machine and the floppy disk and all that type of stuff. So it's in a relatively short period of time, we've just seen exponential growth around how technology is impacting our businesses. And quite frankly, if we're not adopting, I see a lot of businesses going by the wayside, and I can see that number increasing over the next 5 years if we don't really get our heads around everything that the digital space has to offer us. So that's why I'm so passionate about, the whole digital space, and I'll share a little bit more about my journey as we go through. So why don't we have a digital strategy? I mean, what is with that? If we don't have a digital strategy, it's going to cost you. And the thing that I don't understand, and I'm on a real bandwagon about this, is that typically as business owners, we get a business plan in place. It's something that we've got to have for our accountant or for our banks, and we just know that we need to have a business plan. Whether it's a one page or it's more detailed, we've got a business plan. And then we'll get a marketing plan in place because we know that that's a good thing as well. But we don't have a digital plan. So what ends up happening is we waste a lot of time chasing down different bits of software or different bits of hardware that we think is going to make us money, save us time, make us more productive. And it costs us a lot of money to not have a digital strategy, because time and time again, I see businesses say, I need a productivity tool, and they go and sign up for something and then they don't really use it. But another piece of software that they have can do 80% of what they were looking for. So really not having a strategy and not taking the time in place can cost you a lot of money. Just the other week, I was working with a client and we managed to cull a little over $5,000 worth of subscriptions per year, because when we looked at everything that they already had in place, they just needed to learn a few things from software they already had there and hardware they already had there, and they could get rid of these subscriptions that they weren't really using. Most importantly, I see that people are just frustrated and overwhelmed around this digital and technology space. You go to look for something and there's just so many options and so many different opinions that really you end up just kind of going, oh, this is all too hard, and you pop it off to the side and, get on with what you've been doing. And then another month or another 6 months goes by and you go, I really should look at that thing again. So you start Googling again, go back into that cycle of overwhelm. So really what we're talking about today is how can we do this in a simplified manner that's not going to put us into overwhelm, and it's really going to set our business and us up for success for the coming year. So really for me, there are three major steps to creating a very simple digital strategy. And that is, we audit, we prioritise, and we implement. And they're the three steps that we're going to go through today. And at the end of today, you're going to have the tools to be able to create your own digital strategy and recognise the one or two things that you need to work on immediately that will make the biggest difference in your business. And you'll have a strategy for how you can go forth and implement them. So a little bit about me, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tracy Sheen. I'm known as the Digital Guide. I'm the author of The End of Technophobia, a practical guide to digitising your business. It was winner of Australian Business Book of the Year and Best Technology Book for 2021. So the Business Book Awards are about to happen on the 22nd of November. So I will hand that prestige on to this year's author, but really lovely to win that award. I'm a regular on Koshy's Business Builders. So if you watch the show, I am his digital guru. So I pop on kind of every episode and offer a tech tip. I've also co-hosted episodes with him and done webinars with David Kosh as well. I've worked with companies like Windows and Intel, being recognised as a top 50 small business leader in Australia. I'm accredited with the Australian Marketing Institute as a certified practicing marketer, which is the highest ranking that digital marketers can receive in Australia. Done work with the Australian Domain Authority, so they're the guys who oversee all of the regulations and implementation of websites in Australia. And I'm also the founder of the Small Business Tech Club. So really these days, all I do is do a lot of these webinars, do a lot of one-to-one coaching, a lot of media commentating around small business and technology. And I am the entrepreneurship facilitator for the Ipswich, Lockyer Valley, Somerset and Scenic Rim region. So most of you would have seen this webinar up on either the Cairns Yep site or the Ipswich Yep site. So I am the Ipswich person that you see out and about. All right, excellent. Let us talk about creating your digital strategy. So the first step to this is your audit. And what we're going to do, and again, happy to send you the slides, but I want you to literally go through and audit everything. So that means opening up your credit card statements. It means opening up your bank card statements and just making a note of everything that you're paying for monthly or annually, you know, so Xero. Are you paying for Canva? Are you paying any membership subscriptions? Do you have, I was paying until recently one for images with Adobe. So just going through and looking at absolutely everything and making a note of it with your software. Now with your hardware, that's looking at things like, when was the last time you updated your handset, your mobile phone, your desktop, your iPad, and just put a note of when was the last time that you updated it, you know, and how well do you think you're using these things. Take also into consideration any team members. So if you work with any staff or if you have contractors, thinking about what subscriptions that you have that they also need to use, and how are you managing the security across all of those devices. We've certainly been hearing in the last few weeks a lot of horror tales around some of the cyber breaches with Optus and Medibank, but there's a lot of cyber breaches that impact small business as well, and the impact for us financially are often a lot more damaging than a company like a Optus or a Medibank that can just throw, you know, however much money they need to it to make the pain go away. The average time from tax to realisation is around 221 days. So you can imagine the damage that could happen to your business if you accidentally click on a phishing email or something like that. So thinking through what security do you have in place. And then thinking through, and I do this on a scale of 1 to 10, and I have a template that I'm happy to share with you if you're interested. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you using the solutions that you have? So if you write down, you know, I use Xero, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you using Xero? You know, do you have dashboards in place to see how your cash flow and your metrics are doing, your sales, your lead to sale conversion rate? Do you know all of that? That's all available to you through Xero. If you're using Canva, you know, are you using that and you're paying for it? Are you using that to the best of your ability? If you're using Facebook ads or Google ads or even any social media, how well are you using it? Do you feel like you could improve your knowledge or improve your productivity with any of those tools? So be brutal because this is going to help you when we're talking about how we're going to prioritize what it is that we're looking at. So as I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you using what you already have? The suggestions from the cybersecurity boffins are that we should be replacing our hardware at least every 3 years. So mobile phones, laptops, etc., we should be turning them over at least every 3 years, because what happens is as the devices age, we find that we can't do the security updates and things that we need to. So we expose our business more and more as we hold on to these older devices. They obviously also are slower than newer devices, etc. So it's just making sure that we are maximising and using everything that we have. What about your team? What are they using that impacts your business? And for me, my team is virtual. I have a video person that I work with in Argentina. I have a graphic person that I work with out of Canada. So thinking that through, that it doesn't have to be all internal team or all staff that you're paying. If anybody who's doing stuff for your business, you need to be thinking about what they're using and what they're operating in and how that is impacting the way that you do business. Identify your gaps. So once you've gone through and you have your, you've written down all of your hardware. So I've got an iPhone, I've got a laptop, I've got a desktop, I've got a Remarkable, I've got an iPad, I've got a Surface Pro, whatever that is for you. You've written all of that down. You've put the date that you've bought it or the year that you've bought it. And you're saying, yep, I can operate that on about a 5 out of 10. You've gone through, you've done all of that. You've opened up your bank. You've opened up your credit cards. You've written down all of your software. You've done the same thing on a scale of 1 to 10. I think I'm using this at about a 4 or a 6 or an 8 or a 10. Then once you've done all of that, you'll have a very clear list in front of you. And at that point, it's a really good opportunity to identify your gaps. Now, when I'm speaking with people, typically they can say to me very quickly, oh, I need to understand digital marketing better. Or if I could just get more sales, it would get more business. Or if I could get my finances under control, or if I could be more productive. Basically, they will come, and I can guarantee you that you already have an idea of that 1 or 2 things that if you implemented or added to your business, that it would make a huge impact to the way that you operate right now. So again, be honest with yourself. You don't have to show this to anyone. So this is just you going, if I knew how to sell better, then business would be better. If I knew how to run Facebook ads, I wouldn't have to outsource them. If I knew how to manage my tasks, then I wouldn't be dropping so many balls. So you'll know exactly what those gaps are, and you're going to take notice of them. So now we're going to choose our priorities. But before we do, let me just check in. Any questions around how we put the audit together? You might kind of be looking at this and going, oh, I can't see how that's going to work for my business, or I have this type of thing and I just not sure how that fits in. At this stage, feel free to come off mute if you've got any questions, or you can pop them into the chat box. As I said, I want to make sure that this is exactly what you need. So if you're unsure about any step in the audit, feel free now to come off mute or pop a little note in the chat box. Otherwise, I will keep trucking. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Look, I'll even take a drink of water. All right, so let's move on to prioritise. Oh, one chat here. So Carly's just saying that the sound is a bit choppy or the voice sounds muffled at times. So sorry about that, Carly. I'm not sure what's going on. I do have good reception here. You can make it out though. Okay, good. All right. So hopefully it's not so bad that you can't follow what's going along. All right. So when it comes to prioritizing, I want you to pick no more than 3 things. Now, this is the big area that I see where people put themselves into unnecessary overwhelm. They write a big long to-do list of, 10 or 12 things that they want to fix in their business, or they want to implement, or they want to understand about technology. I want to put email automations in place, and I want to, learn Facebook ads, and I want to get a handle on running a webinar. I want to start a podcast, and guarantee you that's just going to put you into overwhelm and you're doing nothing. So pick 3 things. And the way that we think about those 3 things is, what are the ones that are going to make the biggest impact in your business? So for me, that could be, dollar-wise. What if I do this? Is that going to equate to more dollars? Because if that equates to more dollars, then that could mean that I could put a team member on that could do some of the stuff that I don't like doing. Or if I do this, that's going to increase my profile, which means that clients are going to, find it easier to convert because they've already heard about me in the marketplace. You'll know what those things are, and I want you to be realistic with all of them. So once you've got your top 2 or 3, and no more, please, just 2 or 3, pick the number 1 thing, the very first thing that you want to start working on. The one thing that if you could action in the next 90 days would mean that your business changes. And coming into Christmas, for most of us, if we're in B2B, we're kind of on the wind down from the end of November. Christmas, January is pretty quiet for us in B2B. A lot of people are away. So it's a really good opportunity, instead of putting our feet up and drinking margaritas for 7 days straight. We can actually put a few hours in each day and be learning, implementing, doing, and thinking about what 2023 is going to look like. And then go and have the margarita by the beach. So your strategy that we're doing here, so the audit and the implementation, is only going to work if you work that strategy. Okay, so exactly the same with your business plan, exactly the same with your marketing plan. A marketing plan will only work for you if you pull it out and look at it every 30 days, 60 days, and go, right, how am I tracking? Are my numbers growing the way that I said I was going to? Am I getting the leads? Am I doing all of this? Yes, no, I need to tweak and adjust this. Same as your business plan. And your digital strategy is no different. It's not something that we do and stick in a drawer. It's something that we do, and we have it sitting kind of beside us, that we can be checking in every month, every couple of months, and going, all right, have I achieved that thing? Yes, tick, move to the next one on the priority list, and do the same implementation strategy. All right, so you guys might make me get through this really, really quickly, because there's no questions, and that surprises me. So step 3, we're talking about implementing. So this is really where the rubber hits the road. This is where the changes happen. The magic happens in your business. So you're going to choose your number 1 priority. So remember, when we went through the audit, we identified the top 2 or 3 things, no more, that we wanted to do. We picked our number 1, and now we're going to put a deadline on it. So let's say, for example, you identify that you want to put a CRM in your business, customer relationship manager. You've got an Excel spreadsheet at the moment that's holding all of the names of your customers. Maybe you just keep them in the emails, and you're like, right, it's time I got a bit more organized. I want to put a CRM in place, customer relationship manager in place. So that could be your number 1 priority, and we're going to give it a deadline. And that can be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, no more than a quarter, because what we're going to do is now figure out how to choose the right solution. So if we're working on the assumption, and if you've got one that you want to float by, that you're kind of like, okay, I need to look for this, and I'm not quite sure what that means. If we're using the assumption of a customer relationship manager, then we're going to pop our requirements down. And again, top 3 to 5, no more, of what we really want this system to do for our business. Okay, not looking yet at Google. We're kind of going, okay, I want a CRM because I want to have all of my client information in one location. Okay, perfect. So that could be requirement 1. Everything's got to be in the one location. Requirement 2 might be, I want it to have a sales pipeline, so I can see, what I've got coming up. I can see how long it's taking me to convert a lead. I can see how many people I need to speak to before they become a customer. I can see how long they stay engaged. So perhaps that's requirement 2. Requirement 3 might be, well, I need my VA to be able to access it, and I need some other team members to be able to access it. So we need more than one login, or we need more than one sync, which is what they're often called in the CRM. That could be requirement 3. And requirement 4 might be, well, I want to be able to send newsletters or send some automations or do something like that. So that might be the final one that we put down. So now we have our 4 requirements, or 3 or 5, whatever that is for you. We've got our 4 requirements, and these are deal breakers. If the system doesn't do this, we're not going to look at it. Now, again, when people kind of decide that they want a CRM or a task manager or whatever, what I see is that we typically go to our mates, or we go to a Facebook group and we say, hey, I'm considering getting a CRM. What do you use? What do you recommend? And you'll get 500 answers with 300 different products, but nobody ever says to you, what do you want to achieve by using this system? So you need to get really, really clear on what you want from the solution that you're looking for. So we start there. We start with our requirements, with our deal breakers. If it doesn't do this, I'm not using it. And then we choose 3 software options, and we just put little crosses beside it. So again, if I'm using the analogy of a CRM, software 1 might be HubSpot. So I write HubSpot here. Does it do my requirement 1, which was to have everybody located into the one location that I could access and see easily? Tick. Yes, it does. Does it allow external users, VAs, contractors, everyone to be able to get in and access and use the system as well? Tick. Yes, it does. Does it do email automations and things like that? Yes, it does, but I have to pay for it. So that was number 4 on the list. So then we look across, and now we go Ontraport. So again, the same thing. Does Ontraport offer this? Yes. Tick. Does it offer that? No. And then all we do is we look at our ticks and crosses, and we pick the one that is ticking most of our boxes. So if we get 3 out of 4 and the 4th one is available, but it's a paid service, we might go, okay, well, maybe we can grow into that. Maybe we get our head around all of the free facilities first, and priority 2 that we're going to work on after we put the CRM in place becomes getting an understanding of the automation, so we can see that we could grow into that platform. Does that make sense? The way that happens? Thank you. I've got 2 nodders, and I'm hoping that everyone that's not on camera is nodding. Yep. Thank you, Carly. So that's all we do. Now, that is the same whether you're looking at a project management software. So I want something that's going to manage all of my tasks and all of my clients. So you might write your little list down the side here. You know, I need to be able to access it from the mobile. I need to be able to have dependencies. So this can't happen until that's finished. I need to be able to see a calendar view of everything that I've got coming up. I need to be able to include my clients. So you write your requirements down the side. It's got to do this. And then you go through and you Google best productivity software. And you go, okay, first one's Trello. Let's go through. Does Trello do this, and this? Tick, cross, tick, cross. And now we're going to look at Asana. Does it do it? Cross, cross, tick, whatever that looks like. Monday, same thing. And then we just look at our little template and go, okay, well, it looks like Asana ticked most of the boxes here. So I'm going to double down and give Asana a go. So no more than 3 software options, because really, again, we don't want to put ourselves into overwhelm. So if you Google top 3 software options or top 3 options for productivity, CRM, anything, you'll find that you will always get a top 3 list that you can work from. So once we've done that, then all we're going to do is give ourselves that time frame, right? So we're giving ourselves a 30-day, a 60-day, a 90-day time frame in which to implement and learn that. And here's the tricky bit. It doesn't matter what software you choose. If you've never used it before, there is a learning curve. and there will be some short-term pain for you to learn how that thing works, which is why I say give yourself a deadline. A lot of software, as you've probably seen, will offer you a 7-day, 14-day, or 30-day free trial. So that's a great opportunity for you to go, okay, I'm going to go all in on this thing for the free trial. So let's say it's 30 days. You guarantee that you're going to give yourself 30 minutes every day, 15 minutes every day, an hour, whatever you can fit into your schedule, where you're going to go in, you're going to read a blog, you're going to watch a video, you're going to do something in that system to start to implement it into your business. So you're going to see by the end of your deadline, so let's say it's 30 days, have you got all of your clients imported into your CRM? Tick. Have you got been able to access or add your other team members in? Yes, I have. Can I see a sales pipeline? Yes, I can. So if you're starting to see by the end of that 30 days that, okay, I've still got a way to go. I can see that I've got to learn this stuff, but I'm getting the hang of this. I'm forcing myself to use it. It's now actually starting to save me time because I have everything collated into the one area. You're more inclined to have developed that habit of continuing to use it. Flip of the coin, if at the end of 30 days you go, oh my God, this thing is just done my head from day one, and it's not doing what I wanted to do, it's not user friendly, I just can't, then ditch it, go back to your list and pick your number 2 software option and do the same thing. You will know within 30 days, 90 days tops, but typically I say 30 days, you will know within 30 days if that new solution for you is going to work. What happens is we go into this sunk cost theory. So we kind of look at what we've already got, or we look at what we've just purchased, and we say, oh, we've already spent a few $1,000s on this, or we've already invested 30 hours trying to learn it. I just need to persevere a little bit longer. Obviously, I've just not, spent the time. Get out of it quickly, fail fast, fail forward, go to the next solution, because you're going to get a better, what about testing it out before fully living it? Yep. So you're going to get a better solution for yourself within that 30 days. So it's really, really important that when you're looking at your calendar and you're looking at doing this, you actually diarize, pencil in wherever you keep your calendar, your schedule, you actually diarize in, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm giving myself 30 minutes in this system every day, or an hour or 15, whatever you can do. But you hold yourself to that, because you need to learn it. You need to understand it. Technology, sadly, I say this all the time, it should just work. It doesn't. We do need to implement. We do need to learn. There is some short-term pain for the long-term benefit. I took that pain about 5 years ago and implemented a CRM, and now it has made my life so much easier because I have everything at my fingertips. I reckon I'm probably saving myself, an hour and a half a week compared to what I was doing 5 years ago, just by having everything centralized. So it's really thinking that through and being prepared to, okay, we're going into that quieter time of the year. I am willing to, spend that time now and take the hit to learn something that's going to set 2023 up for our business, my business, and myself personally. Question, because that one can be a bit tricky. So feel free to jump off mute or pop anything into the chat that you want to know before we recap, because you're making me go really, really quickly, and I know that I speak fast to begin with.
Hi, Tracy. Lydia here from Brisbane. I have a question for you. So my question is, what factors helped you decide on the digital strategies that you would continue to outsource versus the ones that you thought, maybe I can do this myself?
Yep, great question. So I have a to-don't list. So similar to a to-do list, but my to-don't list is everything that I actually don't enjoy doing. or that takes me an inordinate amount of time. So I have ADD. So I, squirrel. I'm hopeless at maintaining focus unless I'm interested in something. So I learnt really early on the stuff that doesn't hold my interest, I'm far better off outsourcing, because otherwise I'm going to spend 6 times the amount of time it would take someone. And if I charge myself out at, X dollars an hour, let's say $100 an hour, and I can pay someone $16 US or whatever that looks like, but that frees me up to do something that I'm going to bring in revenue or add value to the business, then that's a better outcome overall for the business.
Yeah.
So look at, what do you charge out per hour? What can you pay to get someone to do that task? And what are the things that you like versus what are the things that you don't like? And then just weigh that up.
Great. Thank you.
And then when you go to outsource, the other tip that I have is, if you're going to use something like Upwork or something like that, find one task and give it to about 3 different people, the same task. Because then you can measure them on how long did it take, what was the quality of the work, what was the communication like, all of that type of thing, but you're measuring them apples to apples. So at the end, then you can say, okay, well, Carly did the best job, so let's give Carly another project. And just, it's like dating. Don't jump into a 6-month commitment. Just kind of project them a couple, 3, 4, and then go, okay, they've delivered each and every time. Now maybe we'll look at a longer term contract.
Great tip.
Thank you. Any other questions? That was great. Thank you, Lydia. That was a great question. Any other questions around the audit process, the prioritizing, the finding the software, finding the hardware, anything like that? I can't believe how quiet you are. Okay, awesome. All right, so we've done the select no more than 3 options. So let's recap. So we talked about, the 3 steps. Audit, so going through absolutely everything. And when I do this, very happy to share my template with you if you're interested. It is just I think it's 3 or 4 pages, and it will take you through everything. What have you got in marketing? What have you got in finance? What have you got in sales? What have you got in admin? What have you got in operations? What have you got in logistics? And then you put your software and do that, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well are you using it? And it really just is meant to sit beside you on your desk for probably a week, maybe 2, because we don't use the same platforms all the time. So we really do need to go, oh, hang on, I opened up MailChimp today. I hadn't put that in. So we go and write that into the audit. And then at the end of a couple of weeks, that's when we would sit down and start to think about, well, what are they? So Amelia wants a template. Excellent. All right. So I'll just include the template in the email so you can all access that in your own time. And then the next step is that priority. So what's the top 3 things I want to achieve in the business when it comes to, digital or tech? And then narrow it down to that big one and really find your driver. So is it, I want to increase revenue, I want to increase leads, I want to increase my team morale, whatever that thing is for you, and do that one first, because we're always going to add stuff to our to-do list. That's just the nature of being an entrepreneur. There's always stuff that's coming to our attention. So start with that one thing, and then to implement, it's coming up with that list of requirements. It's running 3 software options beside it. Tick, cross, tick, cross. Doesn't need to be more elaborate than that. Giving yourself a deadline. I'm going to do this in the next 30 days. And then making sure that you allocate your time to it every day, because you're not doing yourself any justice, and you're not doing your business any justice by just going, yep, I'm going to implement this, and then, nothing happens. You spend 3 hours in it the first day, but then you don't go back to it, and you end up saying, well, that was useless and it did nothing for me. It's not the software. That's you. Sorry. All right. So audit everything. Prioritize the number 1 thing that would change your business for the better. Allocate time every day to get to know the new software. And I got a challenge for you. I'm going to send all of this out on recording, so it will happen. You'll get it by Monday next week, so I need a couple of days. But I want you to finalize your digital audit. So you're going to get that via template. I want you to choose your number one priority, and then I want you to give yourself a deadline and pick one thing. And if you need someone to hold you to account, feel free to email me. I'm going to give you all of my details. Feel free to email me and say, hey, I found this. This is what I'm going to do. And I've given myself 30 days. And then I'm very happy to, have an email with you a couple of times through that month to say, hey, how you going? How's it working? Are you implementing it? What are you struggling with? All of that kind of stuff. So feel free, when you get this, all of these are hyperlinks. So you can schedule a call with me as a one-to-one through the entrepreneurship, and everything that we do is free through the Your Entrepreneurship program. There's our website, my email, Facebook, sign up for the newsletter so you can stay in touch. And this is me directly if you want to follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook or any of those types of things. So let me come off share screen. I'm keen for questions, for comments. Is that I have a question, Carly, or is that okay? Awesome. Come off mute, mate.
Hey, Tracy, how you doing? I wasn't sure what to expect from this workshop, but the name caught my eye, and I thought I'd pop along and see. But really cool workshop. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I actually provide tuition and support, IT support, not the way a typical computer business would, in the way of sort of hardware and repairs, but I really like to find out about people and their businesses and optimize. So we've got a few similarities there.
Yeah, very cool.
But often what I see people doing is they just get themselves tied up in knots, looking for different software, and often they jump in between software that does the same sort of thing, but they're not using either of them fully, and they just sort of get themselves wound up in knots. And that's where I like to talk to them and see where it can actually simplify to optimize. Cool workshop. Thanks.
Thank you. And you're right. It's that overwhelm thing, right? We think we've got to do more than one thing at a time because we're entrepreneurs, and that's just the way our minds work. So we go, well, I've got to understand Facebook ads, and I've got to understand a CRM, and I've got to understand Xero because, I need to invoice people, instead of just going, hang on a minute, what's the one thing? What's the one thing that if I focus on for the next 30 days is going to have the biggest impact to me or to the business, and just focus on that? Because every time we task switch, it takes our brains close to 30 minutes, it's around 26, 24 minutes before it actually catches up and lets us focus now on that next thing. So by just going, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm just going to do some training and understand Xero. You take that pressure off yourself, you remove the overwhelm, and then there's a very good chance that you'll find, I don't need that other bit of software that I thought I did, because Xero does that thing as well. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that happens when you just give yourself permission to just focus on one thing. So Awesome. Thank you, Carly. Anyone else? So we had Leanne. Thank you so much. Great session. Love the recording template. Newly self-employed town planner. Fantastic. Wanting to do a blog each week and send it out via email or post to Facebook. I have enough business, but it's about credibility and reviews for me. So Leanne, a blog once a week, that is a fantastic aspiration. Set yourself up for success, my friend. So maybe say for the first 3 months, I'm going to do a blog a month. And if you find that you're continuing to do that and kicking goals and you've never missed one, then maybe go, okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to do a blog every 2 weeks. I think if we start and we all have the best of intentions, but you said you have plenty of work on, I would encourage you to go back and look at your schedule and just kind of go, okay, can I really do that every week? Because here's the thing, once we get ourselves and our clients into a routine that we post, or we put a podcast out, or we do a video or whatever, and you don't do it because you get busy, or you go, oh, I just missed one, then it's like trying to get back to the gym. It just doesn't happen. And our clients start to go, but hang on a minute, you used to post every Tuesday and now that's disappeared. So set yourself up for success, build up to it, and really Google's happy if you do one a month. So you can repurpose that, 10 or 12 different ways and get plenty of fodder for your social media through the month as well. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Leanne. Happy to have a chat if you want to about setting up that as well. So good on you.
Hi, Tracy.
Excellent.
Me again, Lydia
Sorry.
from Brisbane.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi.
Lydia from Brisbane.
Lydia from Brisbane. In your experience, have you found that the software solutions that kind of offer like an all-in-one kind of solution, are they tending to be more helpful than those that might just focus on one problem? Because I've noticed that there's kind of a fork, you kind of have to choose one or the other. And I'm just wondering, have you found the all-in-ones to be a bit more helpful?
Really, I would go back and say, what is it you need to achieve? Like, what is it you're looking for in the business? And write down those like top 3 or 4 things. And if you find a solution that does all of that for you, go for it. And there are a few out there. The thing I find when we go for an all-in-one solution, so we use a platform called Sweet Dash in my business, and Sweet Dash is like a learning platform. It's got a community aspect to it. I can white label it so I can do stuff for clients, blah, blah, blah. But when I signed up for it and I saw everything that it did, I did nothing for a month because I was like, well, where do I start? Because now this thing offers me kind of the world. So where do I start? So it's the same process. Do your requirements. Yes, if a one size fits all work for what you need in your business, come back to that number one priority. What's the first thing I need to understand about this thing? What's that first thing that's going to make the biggest impact in my business? And learn that inside the solution first. Once you've nailed that, move down the list. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And then suddenly you'll see all of the pieces start to come together. But the all-in-one solutions are great as long as they're ticking your boxes.
Yeah, very cool. And do you find that there are digital strategies that made the most difference to your business in the early stages versus in the later stages?
For me it was time management.
Starting out, so
So for me it was time management. And that's because I have ADD, right? So I'm hopeless at everything in my head takes 10 minutes. It doesn't matter whether I'm driving back from the Gold Coast to Ipswich or like, it's just there's no concept of time really for me, and that's something that happens with people with ADHD. My husband calls me a time lord because he says, you're like Doctor Who, you've got no kind of concept of anything. So for me it was time management. It was a bit of software that could really hold me to account and go, you got 30 minutes to do this thing, go. I go, okay, and I do that thing. And then I could set focuses and timers around, okay, well, this thing we know is going to take an hour. You've got an hour, go. And it would start to tell me when I'm at my most productive and all that type of stuff. So that was a game changer for me.
I can.
But I was helping a mate who's just started a recent business, and for her it was about getting leads. Like, she just needed leads really quickly. So it was about helping her to learn and understand Facebook ads, because we identified that was going to be the area that was going to pull the people quickly, and she didn't have budget to pay someone. So we kind of went through the process of, okay, you got 30 days to learn Facebook ads. What's your play budget while you're figuring this out? And then we moved on from there. So it's really coming back to what's the thing that is going to impact your business in the most positive aspect in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And work in 90-day cycles is my other big tip, because anything longer than that, we're just going to overwhelm. So if you can build a year into 90 days, you know, you'll kind of keep cycling through. So this 90 days, I want to focus on sales. This 90 days, I want to focus on time management. This 90 days, I want to focus on productivity, whatever those things are for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Lydia.
Really
Any
good.
other questions? Sorry.
Really good session. Glad I joined.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And folks, we have got a bunch more sessions coming up. I'm doing one on Google Business Profile. So there's been a lot of changes from Google My Business across to Google Business Profile. So I'll be talking about optimizing your profile and what Google's looking for and how you can help some of the SEO things that you can get off the back of Google Business Profile. So I've got that session coming up. I think I'm also doing the top 10 tech tips. And if you're interested and around, the Ipswich or Lockyer Valley region, tomorrow I've got a drop-in coffee and conversation. So getting to meet some people at Fire Station 101 in Ipswich, and that's Friday the 4th of November, and that's from midday to 1:30. And then Laidley in the Lockyer Valley the week after. And then if anyone is looking for a Christmas lunch to go to, because, you know, we fly solo and we don't get to go out on big team lunches, we're doing a Christmas lunch at Springfield at Orion Shopping Centre on the 24th, I think it is. It's all on the website. And all of those sessions are free to attend. You just buy your own coffee or buy your own lunch or do what you want. And it's really a no, you know, there's no sales pitch, there's no agenda. It's just, you know, other people that are going on the same journey as you, just providing support and offering some good conversations. So I'd love to see you at some of those events. If you're in Cairns do similar things. They have drop-ins at their office in Yep on a monthly basis. And Kate and the team up there are amazing. So I know they would love to welcome you to any of those sessions. Any other questions? I mean, we're going to finish a little bit earlier, but that's not a bad thing when you're in business for yourself, Carly.
Hey, do you have a newsletter just to stay up to date with what you're putting out or workshops, or is it just best to follow you on Facebook or something? Or
yeah, so the Yep stuff, certainly you can follow the newsletter sign up.
Oh yeah, got that one.
The slide deck comes out, you'll be able to follow that. With my stuff, if you want to follow me, you're probably best off just to jump on Facebook or LinkedIn. Yep. I'm the plumber with the leaky tap, so I don't have a. I said I'm the plumber with the leaky tap, so I don't have a regular newsletter or any of that. That's cool. 2023 for me, and I don't want to send stuff out when all I'm doing is just saying, you know, stuff that people find useless. So we get enough newsletters in the world without me just banging on about stuff.
No, I agree. It's it's hard to find the newsletter gems and not get all the extra.
Yeah. So I'd rather just post regularly to socials and keep an update via newsletter for when there's something really exciting happening.
Cool. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Carly. All right, folks, if there's no other questions, go forth, have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for spending the hour with me. Well, not quite the hour. Thank you so much for giving back to yourself for your business. You know, you're going to notice some huge changes next year if you put the time in, and just don't get frustrated. One thing at a time, tick it off the list. And I'm here if you're looking for, you know, that additional support or a bit of whip cracking to make sure that you hold yourself to account. So thank you so much, folks. Have a great day. I'll be the last one out of the room, so feel free to exit, or if you have other questions, you know, happy to hang around and answer those for you. So there we go.
Thanks a lot, Tracy.
Thank you.